I'm gonna wear my wrinkliest shirt today.
We pay extra for wrinkles. Oh, Jesus.
What?
Oh, ostentatious.
Oh, just waving it. Make sure this
Yep.
is glaring right into the lens.
We begin with a toast.
Cheers.
I didn't bring a glass.
We don't have to.
All right, it has been a while since we've done a question and answer period, so I think for 100,000, that seems like a worthy celebration.
You're going to work 100,000 in many times in this conversation, aren't you?
Did I mention that we have 100,000 subscribers?
Really?
Yeah. Oh, did you see this?
So this was all about?
Did you see that?
You've created a monster.
All right, so we've got a long list of questions. Let's start with George, who asked, not looking for schadenfreude, but what have been some of the more spectacular or hilarious disasters at the club or channel?
I can start that one.
Yeah.
So one evening, Greg was not at the club, and we were playing a board game, and suddenly it started raining in the club.
Yes.
And it appears the tenant who lives above the club decided to wash her floor by dumping an entire bucket of water onto the wood floor, which then proceeded to cascade down through the ceiling and into the club.
I remember I was out at dinner with my wife, and I got a Facebook message from you sending me a video of the water coming down through the ceiling in the club. It's like, yeah, I don't know what to do about that, Dave.
Yeah, it wasn't the first time.
No, actually, I think we've had at least 2 major ceiling leaks in the history of the club. The other one was plumbing related.
So if you're planning a club on your own, you may or may not want to have tenants living above your game space.
Now, the one that I remember, this goes back to the earliest days of the channel, and Zach, I don't remember if you were in this game or not. It was the second episode we ever filmed for Little Wars TV, and Keith was running a 28mm game for Foix. We were playing Chain of Command, and Keith was responsible for the minis and the terrain, and he made the winter terrain mat the morning of the game in the parking lot outside the club with spray paint. So he's outside, we're minutes away from the game, and he's spray painting brown roads onto a white mat, and the entire game, just the odor of the paint in the room. We're playing this game in winter, we have the door open, we have windows open, and it was awful. Oh my God, it was terrible.
Just fumigator.
It was
So if you thought
nasty.
they were high, they were.
Yeah, that was fun. That was fun.
I remember one time that it was not video related, but we were here. It was another storm, and the power went out. And we were all in the middle of the game, and we all got our phones out and put the flashlights on, and we were playing some medieval game. I forgot what it was, with our flashlights, and it was really cool because you could only see what was right in front of you.
Or was it Vietnam?
It might have been
It might have been
It's
Vietnam.
Vietnam.
Oh yeah, right.
The jungle was dark.
Yes, I
Well, we
remember
had
that.
created a real fog of war because it was pitch black in the club, except for our phones were.
No power. No power. So yes, there have been lots of good stories. Benjamin emailed and said, what is your club's hear me out period? I.e. the period you mention and for whatever reason other gamers turn to you and go, what? So what are some of the more obscure periods that we are really interested in? I already know what yours is going to be, but what is yours, Miles?
Does this surprise you?
Yeah.
It's Russo-Japanese War.
Yes, that is very obscure.
Yeah, it is very obscure. I get lots of eye rolls when I bring it up. I'm fascinated by it. I have a lot of problems.
The one that came to mind for me is I'm a big fan of Darkest Africa games, which, there are a lot of minis out there to support it in multiple scales. You don't see it very often. Like, I very rarely ever see it being played at a convention, but I personally just think it's a really cool period to game.
Okay. Well, for mine, it would have to be Tom taking us down the road of the War of Spanish Succession.
Ah, yes.
Oh.
Yes.
I never would have picked that time period, ever. Napoleonic, sure. American Revolution, sure. War of Spanish Succession? Yeah, I had to buy some books on that one, number one. But he basically browbeat us into it because he bought thousands of miniatures and painted them. and then
They look great.
Convinced
Yeah.
Miles and me to follow him down that rabbit hole. So,
By the way, we're still debating basing standards.
yeah, because Tom doesn't believe there is a standard. But if you're watching this video, you might actually see a War of Spanish Succession game in the near future.
What's
It's
your
got-
say?
Oh, well, so like based on like Darkest Africa, like Ed and I both really enjoyed the Sedan, like kind of a little more obscure time period, but still war gamed. But as far as my personal weird one, I have a 16th century Barbary Corsair galley, and no one to fight with it. I have a crew, I have a galley. I'm like, that's so cool, and I don't know what to do with this. It's on 28, it's beautiful, and that
Blood and Plunder?
I could go lose learning that game.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have no idea.
Shannon emailed and said, been watching the channel for a while and I was wondering how often you play historical battles and engagements off the camera, like the ones you see in the episodes, or are many of your club games just loosely based on battles using standard victory conditions? So, we do game here at the club every single Monday, at least one, sometimes two, or as many as 3 games on a Monday. I think most of them are historical scenarios. I mean, I don't know how I would break down a percentage on that.
I'd say
70%?
maybe half.
Okay, half.
And the other half are we're trying to learn a new set of rules, and so we rarely do a match play game. Like a lot of rules are set up where it's a standard scenario with victory conditions. We hardly ever play those.
Yeah, there are almost no games that we play in here where it's like, hey, you build a 300-point army and I'll build a 300-point army and we'll just meet and play. Those never happen, really. It's really up to whoever is actually putting the game together for that Monday night.
Yeah.
And almost invariably, that person brings both sides.
Yes.
Easy one here from Jacob, who emailed to ask what brand of 28mm miniatures we used in the Tombstone war game. Those were my miniatures. They're very old. They're from ARTIZAN's Designs, which I did Google as research for this Q&A. You can still buy the figures. They're really nice. They are based on the movie Tombstone, so they look just like the film. Great miniatures. The Ruttons family asked, in relation to our Bunker Hill episode, do we plan to do more battles to commemorate the 250th over the next few years? And Dave, I know you were thinking about one.
Yeah, so like all things in this club, there are ideas. And then there is what becomes reality.
No pressure, Dave. No pressure.
There's a funnel.
Yeah.
There's a funnel.
So, the Battle of Saratoga. I purchased beautiful, unpainted miniatures for the Battle of Saratoga. We actually went and visited
We did.
the battlefield at Saratoga, where we actually filmed footage, which may eventually show up.
Maybe.
But originally we had planned to do it last year, and we wanted to work with the American Battlefield Trust. But they have a lot of things going on, and so we were not able to make things match up with their schedule. I'm still hoping to do something with the Battlefield Trust, because I think that in particular is a worthwhile cause. And anything that we can do to promote them and battlefield preservation and combine it with our love of wargaming, I'm all for.
Yeah. I mean,
it will happen eventually.
Whether Saratoga happens or not, I mean, I'm sure here in the club on Mondays we'll be doing a lot of AWI gaming.
Gus is a big fan of Saratoga.
Apparently Gus is super into it. Yes, I am sure we will be doing more AWI with the 250th coming up. Absolutely. Bone, any other battlefield tours planned for the future? Well, we actually just got back from 5 battlefield tours in Tennessee. Which was your favorite of the 5, you think, Mike?
My favorite was Shiloh. I thought the terrain is fascinating. It's down by the river. I just had a wonderful time during that tour.
Which of the 5 was your favorite, Dave?
My favorite would be the only one that I got to see.
Little inside joke there.
Yeah,
Inside joke.
unfortunately I was called home, and not in that way. So I only actually got to see one.
Yeah, Stones River.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was great.
It was a little warm.
But I did not actually see Shiloh. I wanted to.
So I'm standing in front of the slaughter pen, which is very surreal, if I would say. It's a natural rock formation that, weirdly, is basically parallel rows of rocks. And if you're standing in those rocks, it functions pretty much like natural trenches. And today they're probably around knee to thigh high, but back in the day it would have been deeper.
Yeah, I'm sure we will do more battlefield tours in the future. They're really fun. Obviously, our club is into the history. In terms of video performance, I mean, for the most part, if you look, they don't perform very well on our channel. They don't get nearly as many views as war games get. But, I mean, that's not going to be an impediment to us doing more of them.
They're still neat.
Yeah, they're fun.
Yeah.
I find it really helps me figure out scenarios and setting up terrain, like we learned for Shiloh, that perhaps we should adjust the terrain we use for Shiloh because it wasn't nearly as wooded as we all thought it was, and that's something that's actually really helpful when you're trying to set up a historical scenario, because you can always make them better.
John Lawden asked, as a regular of the channel, I feel like I have some sense of most of you in terms of game and play preferences, but I'd like to know each person's favorite game or set of rules or period. Consider it the desert island scenario. You've only got time to grab one set of miniatures, or do you even grab them? Do you grab boxes with tokens and hex maps? Desert island scenario, I know I've answered this question before on a podcast or another Q&A. For me, very easy. American Civil War, always been my favorite period of the game. So I would grab some 6mm figures that I could either use for, regimental battles or big battles. Mm-hmm. Civil War, my top pick. What about you guys?
For me, I would have to say World War II. It's probably the one I started with, and it's always been a favorite. Almost all of my World War II is 15mm, and so I would probably take that.
Well, I'll be the apostate here, and it'd be Mordheim City of the Damned, which came out in '99. It has been my favorite ever since. I'm just refurbishing my boyhood models right now.
Nice.
I love it.
Very nice.
And this will shock you. Mine would be Napoleonics.
Of course.
15mm.
Of course.
Of course, I'd need a shipping container to get it to the desert island.
Zulu King asked on YouTube about our Crusader Castle room. Will we be posting a video of the room in all of its glory? Yes.
I was going to say never,
yeah.
just to be arch, but yeah.
Yes, we'll leave it for now at yes, and soon. Another question from YouTube. I think about making battle reports from my wargaming club. Could you make a video on what producing one of your episodes look like? Yes. We've already done it. We'll put a link to it right here in this video. You can go to our website and actually watch an entire 3-part series about how you can make battle reports at your club for free. Lessons from the front. Where can we go to watch entries for this year's Quick Strike Challenge? Or follow the outcome of the challenge? I believe all 4 of us have been watching Quick Strikes.
We have been watching lots of Quick Strikes, and there are some really good ones out there.
And they are all posted currently.
Yes, we've got a playlist. We'll put a link to it in the video description. You can watch all 24+ new entries for the 2025 challenge. Hoping sometime in the next couple weeks we'll be able to actually do the awards, because we're in the midst of watching and evaluating all of your awesome entries right now.
Fantastic.
There are a lot of them, and so it takes a lot of time to go through them. And we, people took the time to put them together. We should take the time to watch them.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think that playlist has all of the quick strikes we've got, not just the ones for this episode. So it's grab a coffee, because you'll be there a while.
Nitro Arius asks, have you done any Cold War gone hot wargaming? It would be kind of wild to have a miniatures battle where you're throwing around tactical nukes. Well, we haven't done tactical nukes in Cold War gone hot, but we've definitely done Cold War gaming, haven't we?
We have done Cold War, Fistful of Toes, every now and then. It's not my favorite period. Nor does throwing tactical nukes sound like a lot of fun.
Unless it's at a bug hole.
Right, unless it's Starship Troopers, which we are doing. Yes.
Yeah, even Gus doesn't like tactical nukes.
You've got some Team Yankee stuff, right?
Yep, so I have a large amount of Team Yankee stuff. I have actually run Team Yankee games of the Iran-Iraq War at Historicon and places like that. I may or may not have a lot more unpainted in my basement. Also, 7 Days to the River Rhine is a set of rules that we played recently in the club. So you never know.
I know, I think you were in it, maybe Miles, you played as well. A couple months ago, Ed ran Dun Kempf.
Oh, yes?
On a 12-foot long table upstairs in the Crusader room. First time I'd ever played Dun Kempf. If you watched our Historicon recap, you saw two guys talking about the history of that development of that game for the U.S. Army. And that was a Cold War gone hot scenario. We had, Russian paratroopers dropping in on an air base in Germany, and Ed ran pretty cool game there.
Ed always runs a pretty cool game.
Indeed he does. Matt Coleman, the pace of making videos must have been demanding over the last 7 years and seems to be driven by a few individuals. How do you feel about sharing the workload? Has delegating improved over time? I included this question for a specific reason. Keep up the fantastic work. The quality is unmatched. I see others striving to match it. Shout out to Mark's Game Room. Definitely, we are friends of the guys at Mark's Game Room.
Actually, I'll take this.
Oh, you'll take this.
I'll take
this. Yes.
If you enjoy our videos, you pretty much have one man to thank. This guy. He did actually try to get other people to learn how to edit.
I did try.
We simply refused.
We actually had a meeting.
We did.
I showed up to that meeting. By the end of that meeting, I had glazed over and had decided I was not going to do any editing. Miles, you did actually.
I did some editing, and I was asked not to do any more.
So, yes, it would be wonderful if we had more people to do the editing, and unfortunately...
Someone has very high standards and refuses to relax them, which actually results in a quality product, but we do have a bit of a bottleneck.
Yes.
Thank you, Greg.
I am the video editor, which is the bottleneck. But in terms of the production of the episodes, I mean that really is a team effort. There is a later question we have coming up about how we pick episodes, so we'll save a little bit of that for that question. But there's a lot of involvement from guys on painting miniatures, building terrain, writing for the episodes. But on the editing side, yes, that is yours truly. Let's see. We've got a couple convention-related questions I'll group together. Gamer's Closet asked, being out in California and unable to travel to Lancaster, I was wondering if you would come out here for some of our gaming conventions. I actually am not aware of any gaming conventions in California.
We're a bit parochial in our knowledge.
Are you?
The only convention that I know I want to go to is San Diego Comic-Con, but I have never made it to that convention. But that's not a gaming convention.
Tell us about them, and we'll consider it.
Yeah, leave us a comment. I'm not aware.
Well, it's definitely because we choose not to. It's that we don't know. It's only a 5-hour flight. It's not that far to go. We'd be happy to.
I'd love to have an excuse to go back to California.
I don't think I would bring a lot of miniatures, so it'd just be us attending. But yeah, we'd be sure to be interested. Give us some advice.
Yeah, hell, we went to Sheffield.
Well, speaking of Sheffield, Alex from Storm of Steel Wargaming asks, when are you heading back to the UK?
Sheffield.
And would you be up for a Little Wars Storm of Steel matchup?
I would 100% be on board for that. I love the UK.
We had a lot of fun on that trip. It's hard to imagine that was 3 or 4 years ago now.
At least.
I was kicking myself for missing that one, so if we're going back, I'm going.
Well, I'm there every other month, so Alex, you're on. Get prepared to lose.
Miles, this is a question for you.
I know this one.
P Blitzer 76 says, at a recent con, it wasn't that recent P Blitzer, Little Wars TV ran a multi-part Battle of Stalingrad, a campaign where each group picked up from the last group of gamers. I believe Miles was the referee host. Was any of it filmed, and can we get a brief few minutes of the outcome?
It was filmed, but in the aforementioned, Miles is not allowed to edit anymore. We never actually got it organized. Except the last few months, we've resurrected that product because there are 59 players in that game over the course of 7 games, and you'll be seeing a video of that coming out really soon because thankfully Greg has taken the editing mantle on.
Fantastic.
Geeks with Shields. What's the hardest part of getting into historical wargaming? That is a big question, Geeks with Shields. I think maybe we could each kind of give a bullet point on that, because that could be an hour-long discussion.
Well, the time periods are so specific that you might as well collect both armies, both the one you want to play and their opposition.
if I was like going to zero in on one bullet point for historicals, I would say that unlike sci-fi fantasy, where Games Workshop is the 800-pound gorilla in the room, there is no 800-pound gorilla in the room for historicals, so I think it can be a little disorienting for a new player to know, well, like, where do I get started? There's lots of companies, lots of scales, lots of periods. There's no Warhammer that kind of pulls everybody in. Right. So I just think it's kind of fragmented.
I'll go two. One would be historical knowledge. You have to do your research, if you want to do a specific time period. But to kind of note yours, I think recently there has been an increasing trend of some historical miniature companies that have really tried to take historical wargaming into the mainstream.
Yeah, Warlord.
I would say it started with Battlefront.
Yeah.
And World War II and Flames of War, and that was great. And recently, Warlord has really gone down the road of their 10 millimeter proprietary 12 or whatever it is. But whether it's Hail Caesar or whether it's their American Revolution or American Civil War, they have tried to mainstream it.
I give two answers. If I was answering this question 15 years ago, I'd say the hardest thing is to find like-minded people to play with.
Yeah.
Which gets to your point, build both armies.
Right.
I think recently with social media and Discord servers, that barrier has come down if you take the time to join those servers. And then it gets to just picking what you want to go with. And the key is realize whatever you pick is not what you're going to be doing 3 years later. You will have other scales. So go 15 or 28, pick World War II or ACW. Don't do Napoleonics because there's an awful lot of work. The prep to play ratio is pretty offset. But just find something and try it. And really reach out in the social networks to figure out like-minded people. They're actually more than you think.
Christopher Webster asks a related question, focusing on kids. How do you get kids interested in historical wargaming? That's a tricky one. You got some kids. How'd it work for you, Dave?
So my one son loves 40K. He loves science fiction and fantasy. I probably could not get him to play a historical game. My other son loves tanks. He loves World War II. He loves fighter planes. He would definitely play anything. In fact, he was one of the kids that actually played when we did the Chosin Reservoir at the Marine Corps Museum in Quantico. As a school teacher, I actually made the decision to give up some of the responsibilities that I have in order to start a miniature wargaming club this year. And so I've reached out to Warlord, and I'll probably be getting that set. A lot of students, I don't think, are even aware that it kind of even exists, and that there is something else other than a video game. And the fact that you actually paint and build and make terrain and actually physically move models on a table is kind of alien to them. But I've seen students, once they're exposed to it, really like it. And kind of a funny story, my one son, the younger one, he kind of outed me to a lot of students in the high school about Little Wars TV. All of a sudden, kids started coming up to me and they're like, "What's this Little Wars TV thing?" And your son told us to go check this out. And yeah, so it's been interesting.
I think like with any young person, you have to find something they want to excel at, and then you help them figure out how to do it. And in gaming, it's almost assuredly going to be something sci-fi and fantasy, because that's what most of their friends are doing. And it's as much a social aspect as anything else, and you should encourage that. And what I found, like with my son, getting him to do stuff that was physical was hard, because he's a computer gaming and all that, because he's afraid of failure. And the first mini you paint, it doesn't look very good.
No.
And you got to get them used to that failure, and just got to encourage them and let them pick what they want to excel in, and then that's what you as a parent, you like that now. Doesn't matter if you don't like it, you like it now.
Yeah, I think it, to kind of piggyback on the sci-fi fantasy elements, which clearly appeal to kids. I mean, that's how Zach and I got into wargaming through 40K and through Warhammer Fantasy. I think you got to look for crossover periods. To me, one to circle for sure would be Dark Ages, because there, Vikings are cool, swords and shields, but then you also could kind of drift over into King Arthur.
Yeah.
There is a fantastical element that you can pull in and really turn that into a transitional period where maybe you start with some dragons and some light magic and kind of use those historical minis in a different way. And I think there are multiple periods where you could consider that.
Mm-hmm.
Troy. We were talking about Troy and sort of the age of Greek heroes and gods. I mean, that's a neat crossover period that's quasi historical, but also mythological.
Well, and even Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings, sure. Yeah, all good examples. All right, I saved one of my favorite questions for last. BK asked on YouTube, why should I click subscribe when you sold out by putting half of your content on Patreon? It doesn't seem like the club needs to do that. I found that to be a very interesting question, because if BK is asking, that means there's probably other people who are thinking about that as well. And I thought this might just be a good opportunity to remind folks who missed the memo. A few years ago, we unlocked our Patreon, and it is free. So you can go and you can check out all of the 400 plus posts that we have on Patreon and not contribute anything. That's totally fine. A decision that we made at the club several years ago. So I would encourage BK and anybody watching to go and check it out. In terms of how much you're going to find on Patreon, yes, there are 400 posts, more than that. But they're mostly behind the scenes kind of snippets and bonus features. I did check in the last 7 years. We have made over 350 videos, and of those, 63 of them are war games. It's actually more war games than I realized we had ever posted. Of the 63 war games we've made, 60 of them are on YouTube. Only 3 of them are on Patreon. And as a reminder, those 3, totally free for you to go watch.
Now, we appreciate all of our Patreon subscribers and the ones who still choose to do a paying tier, and we're grateful for that. But you don't have to.
No, we decided a couple years ago that we didn't want anything to be paywalled, even the behind-the-scenes content, because the more exposure we can get for the hobby and for historical wargaming, the better.
Now, I will take a bit of a counter position to that. I don't think there's anything wrong with people putting a Patreon out and choosing to pay for it, because this stuff's not free. And we're in a position where some of us, we can pay for it, and it's great. But a lot of these creators can't, and they need the funds from Patreon. And if you want the content, you shouldn't expect it for free. There's an awful lot of work that goes into it. If you want it for free, you're going to get the quality you get. So I would not begrudge anyone who has a paywall and is creating great content. That's their choice. You need to support these producers if you want to see that content.
But we're very grateful for the generous support of our Patreon supporters that allow us to share this wargaming love with everyone.
Absolutely. Yes. So if you are a paying patron, we very much appreciate it. And if you're not, come and join the community anyway. The more the merrier.
You're just as welcome.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, we did agree to answer every single question that patrons asked, specifically on Patreon. So I still have a whole other page of questions. And we will answer those in a separate video over on Patreon, because this one's getting kind of long. Again, if you want to follow along, hop over there. Absolutely free.
Well, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Nicely done. Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Sure.